course, you too can be on the program and be a part of the program, because we're doing it non-stop now. It's 4:31 Central Time. And usually we'll be taking a break for the local news on a 9-foot signal, but we're going to keep on going right here, because on closed circuit radio I can do what I want, because we've already heard the news, and we're doing news and comment here on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online. But if you want to be part of the show, I'd love to hear from you today on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online, and you should be part of the act. Wow. All you gotta do is get into the chat room here on GJRB Online. If you're on a public site, all you do is hit that comic book icon on the GJRB widget, and you can say hi to me there. I'm going to try to, in the next breaks, I'm going to make a program break. I will go and get my phone, and we'll open up the GJRB cell line, and we'll do that, and we'll get this thing on the road. Here on GJRB Online, the Gary Russen program here on Spreaker across America and around the world. And of course, Freestyle Friday, and we got a lot to talk about. And let's see, we have in our celebrity deaths, I'm going to cover that one here. In our celebrity obits, I want to go down the page. I think it's here, down here somewhere. Well, really good character actors, I guess he is. Here it is. David, and I thought it was Hedison, but I was wrong. It's Huddleston. David Huddleston. If anybody's ever seen some of the movies, you might be familiar with him. The Big Lebowski was one of them. He died. David Huddleston, best known for his character on The Big Lebowski, and he died of kidney disease in Santa Fe, New Mexico. This, according to his wife, reported out in Los Angeles Times. He was 85, veteran actor. He had a career appearing in a lot of big characters on television and film, and a premier names include that of Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles, and Aaron Sorkin on The West Wing. He was on The West Wing too. And I'm going to look at his picture for a minute and see if I recognize him. I think I do. Not sure exactly what he was in Mel Brooks, but I think I know who he was. Didn't really watch The Big Lebowski. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Not really. He played with Jeff Bridges in the Big Lebowski. Don't remember that movie. Of course, I probably didn't really see that movie. Probably, I'll have to check that one on my Roku. Anyway, he was born September 17, 1930 in Vinton, Virginia. After serving in the Air Force, he moved into New York City to attend the American Academy of Dramatic Arts with a GI Bill, where he was graduated in 1958. According to the Santa Fe New Mexican, he then began his career on screen after spanning about 50 years. Mel Brooks picked Huddleston to play Mayor Olson Johnson. I think I remember that now. Mayor Olson Johnson in the Western comedy Blazing Saddles. Original bit part, Mayor Johnson was bolstered after Brooks poured over the script with him and moved around the jokes to boost the character a little bit. Anyway, Huddleston played Kris Kringle himself in the 80s comedy Santa Claus. I think I remember that one too. Yeah, of course, I've seen all the Santa Claus movies, so I would remember him there. And he was in Santa Claus the movie along with John Lithgow, Dudley Moore, and of course the guy who played him. Also moved around a lot of TV. Huddleston played on 1984 revival of Death of a Salesman with Dustin Hoffman, and he played Benjamin Franklin in the late 90s revival of 1776. And sorry for the loss. And David Huddleston, kidney disease, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah. I guess he was big star in his time. And what a shame to have lost him that quickly. Good actor, by the way. I think I did see him in that one other movie. I did see him in Santa Claus. I know that for a fact, but wow. Well, another good story down the... what's up with that? Man, we're losing a lot of big stars now. I mean, some really big ones. So last week, another... to find that one. That's an old movie actress too. She's from the film era, from the studio era, if I'm not mistaken. We'll try to find that story. I was going to put that in before I found David Harrison, and just didn't get around to putting her on that obituary rundown. So, oh well. But I got some interesting stuff to talk about here as we continue the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Here we go again, folks. Offend people once again, but it looks like they're afraid of that now. Well, it looks like the content's not available. It looks like they took it off. Wonder why? Well, anyway, the story was that they had a cross. Apparently, it was a park bench. It was in honor of a boy who died. Apparently, what happened was they decided that it was going to offend people if they put this cross and this Bible verse on there. Yeah. Religious liberties at attack again. It was a memorial for a child, for goodness sake. It was a Muslim symbol. If it was a Muslim symbol, it would be there, right? They wouldn't even bother saying anything about it. But if it's a cross and a Bible verse, they say something about it. Imagine that. Ain't that something? Now here's another one. Talked about this on the last 7 days. You'll hear it coming up next week. This is another story that really blasts me. Check this out. This is the Pope once again doing what he does best. Now he says, well, I do agree with this, though. This one I do agree with him. He says he wanted to denounce the teachings of gender identity to young children in schools, and he's calling it terrible. That I do agree with. He said, quote, today in schools they are teaching these children that everyone can choose their gender. Yeah. Well, in a closed-door session with Polish priest and perhaps this is in Krakow last Wednesday, the Pope blamed textbooks. He blamed textbooks for supplied by persons and institutions who donate money for spreading gender theory, calling it ideological colonization, and supported by very influential countries. Pope Francis spoke with Pope Benedict about this, and he said this, quote, this is the age of sin against God the Creator. Pope Francis previously spoken against the gender theory, saying that getting rid of the problem is not the solution. In April of last year, though, general audiences and Pope spoke, saying, quote, I wonder if the so-called gender theory may not be used may also be an expression of frustration and resignation that aims to erase sexual differentiation because it no longer knows how to come to terms with it. And that was April of last year. Now, the New Ways Ministry LGBT advocacy group is criticizing the Pope over these remarks. Well, you kind of figured they would, okay? They're going to do that. Unfortunately, they're going to do that. They're going to question because, the LGBT community is going to be offended by this now. The pontiff's remarks were further evidence that the church officials need desperately to educate themselves about the lives and experiences of LGBT people. is according to Francis D. Bernardo, Executive Director of the New Ways Ministry. Quote, nobody chooses a gender identity, they discover it. Yeah. D. Bernardo called on the Vatican to establish commission to update their understanding of the gender identity and sexual orientation. So there you go. Once again, folks, you know, we got to explain our way out of the hat here. But I believe the Pope is right here. You know, I was born male. We're born male. You stay male. You're born a female, you stay a female. It's time to quit playing God, folks. You know, that's what you're doing when you're doing that. By picking the gender you want, seems you want to be God. And look how Satan was thrown out of heaven for that. Because he wanted to be God. They wanted their own way. That's what today's society wants. They want their own way. And they want to do it their way. So they're going to disagree with the Pope. They're not going to, you know, this is why a lot of them detest the Bible, because they know that the Bible is teaching what they don't like. And they're going to go up against it. And they're going to be mad about it if you say something. And see, that's what it's all coming to. That's why Christians today are being looked at as terrorists. And it's predicted what's going to happen. What's your output on this? Call me now. Gary Russen program. You want to talk about that? I'm going to get my phone here in a few minutes. Area code 563-613-4260. I'm also in Skype. I've got that activated. If you want to join me on Skype, I am there. Gary.Russen. Call me on Skype if you have headphones, if you have a sound card, and you're on your computer and you're listening to the program. You can call me on Skype, Gary.Russen, or in the chat room by clicking on the comic book balloon icon on the GJRB streaming widget on the GJRB Spreaker public site, and I'll read your responses on the air. I'm going to be doing that here in a few minutes. I got a few postings that I thought were really interesting that I want to read some responses to later. And here's another interesting story here about this. This really boiled my blood. This one really did. I'm not kidding you, folks. This did boil my blood. Seriously, this is something else. This comes out of this story comes out of the Western Journalism, stating that President Obama did something that hasn't been done since 1900. 1900! Hasn't done this since 1900. He commuted sentences of 214 federal inmates, including 67 inmates who are serving life sentences. That brings Obama's total for the year at 375 inmates. He commuted sentences. Through his entire presidency, he commuted sentences of 562 inmates. Now this is the total that surpasses the number of sentences commuted by 9 presidents. 9 presidents, how about that? Preceding him. Most of these are offenders and were federal prison for non-violent drug crimes. Okay, non-violent drug crimes. Okay, I get that. But, hey, non-violent drug crimes. So he commutes the sentences of 9. Okay. Whatever the case may be. I mean, I just kind of wonder about this thing, why are we commuting, hardened criminals that, so they're non-violent. Okay, so what? Does that really, what if they do become violent? See, this is what I'm saying, folks. It's just like I said before about what's his name? Hinckley. You know, he might be okay, but that doesn't say he can do something else. All right, we'll be right back with more of the Gary Russen program. Stay here. We got a lot going on this next half hour. We'll continue talking about what you want to talk about. And I'll get the cell phone and we'll get going here and talk straight to 6 here on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB online. Area code 563-613-4260 or on Skype at Gary.Russen. We'll be right back. Got more Gary Russen program coming your way on GJRB.